our 7th wedding anniversary, which is also my birthday. Mary was on a business trip and didn't come back. She only ordered a mango cake for me. The moment I smelled the mango scent, I put on a mask and threw the cake into the trash station downstairs. After taking some allergy medicine, I went home and sent Mary the signed divorce agreement. The next morning, she video called me. Kevin still doesn't know you're allergic to mangoes. You shouldn't always make trouble out of nothing. It's really annoying. She was wearing the sexy lingerie I bought her, casually lying next to a shirtless Kevin, without feeling anything wrong about it. Then let's get a divorce. I'll never bother you again. Whatever. Mary rolled her eyes and casually ended the video call. The next time I saw her was a month later. Make me some stomach-soothing porridge, my stomach hurts. During this month, she used the excuse of a business trip to travel with Kevin to all the beautiful mountains and rivers, yet she still knew how to come home. For 6 years after marriage, she was loving and harmonious with me, but when we were preparing for IVF, her mother remarried Kevin's father. Siblings with no blood relation gradually developed feelings, to the point where everyone misunderstood them as a couple. Mary always insisted that they were just family. I thought that after I brought up the divorce, the first thing Mary would do when she got home was to file for divorce with me. But instead, she opened her suitcase and pushed it in front of me. These are gifts for you, all handmade by me. I was already sick of seeing those so-called handmade crafts of hers in Kevin's friend circle. I'm not blind. I can tell at a glance that the defective items in the box were made by Kevin, while the perfect pieces in Kevin's circle of friends were handcrafted by Mary herself. Being meticulous, I even noticed the double heart carving that Mary engraved on those perfect works. This was something she used to carve only for me. Now, the handmade items in the box no longer bear any mark that belongs solely to me. I am just like these defective products, objects to be discarded. I sat on the sofa, lazily glanced at her, and did not get up to kiss her as usual, nor did I rush to the kitchen to make her a stomach-nourishing meal. Her body is delicate. If she eats too much greasy and meaty food from outside, she will inevitably have stomach discomfort. Mary lay sprawled on the sofa, and seeing me motionless for a long time, immediately furrowed her brows tightly. George, my stomach hurts. Didn't you hear? I'm not a doctor. I can't cure you. My voice was steady, without any ripple of a small reunion. Mary's neck stiffened instantly. What nonsense are you causing again? Isn't it just because I didn't come back to celebrate your birthday due to work? Birthdays come every year. At worst, I'll make it up to you once. Is it really worth being angry for so long? It seems she doesn't understand why I am angry. She thinks that giving me a month is enough for me to continue licking my wounds and serving her submissively after enduring such coldness. The silent treatment is Mary's trump card. If she really is on a business trip alone, neglecting me for work, what harm is there in me groveling to her? Unfortunately, she doesn't know that Kevin has shared their entire month-long itinerary on Facebook. Why do I have Kevin's Facebook account? Naturally, it was the Cunningham who sent it to me from an unknown number. While they were sweetly enjoying their time together, I was lying alone in the hospital, enduring the torment of illness. In this entire month, she truly only spent 3 days working. The rest of the time was all about the two of them on intimate outings. In those photos, the ring on Mary's finger was not a wedding ring, but a matching ring with Kevin. My gaze fell on Mary's fingers, where there was still a faint ring mark on her middle finger. It seemed she had just taken it off not long ago, and her empty ring finger was mocking me, showing that I didn't even have the ability to make my wife wear a wedding ring. I'm not angry. Mary glanced at me twice and found that I was truly calm as still water, without any resentment. Her slender arms wrapped around my neck like bindweed. George, I knew you were the best. I really want to drink the porridge you cooked. The soft touch did not stir any desire in me. Instead, the faint scent of Gulang perfume on her made it hard for me to breathe. That was the perfume Kevin liked to use. I grabbed her arm and pulled it down. If you want to eat, cook it yourself. Mary, who originally wanted to cling to me, froze to one side. In a fit of anger, she kicked the suitcase hard. The already fragile handmade item shattered into pieces with a clatter under the strong impact. It was just like our fragile marriage, unable to withstand any blow. Her eyes were red, and she pursed her lips, asking me coldly, "Giving you one last chance. Are you sure you won't cook porridge for me? She was giving me a way out. Normally, I would never have pushed her this far. When it comes to serving Mary, I dare say I'm the king of simp, and no one dares to compete with me. I am known in her circle as the king of soft rice. I accept this highly ironic and insulting title calmly. Back then, Mary and I had a sweet relationship, and I didn't care about these names at all. But now, I no longer want to be the king of soft rice. I glanced at Mary, who was on the verge of rage, and quickly shook my head. You can ask Kevin to help you cook. These words undoubtedly ignited the powder keg. Mary picked up the herbal tea I had placed on the coffee table and forcefully splashed it onto my face. George, are you having a mental breakdown again? If she were a bit more serious, she would realize that my mind is truly messed up. The herbal tea dripped down from the brim of my hat, and the soaking wet hat made me extremely uncomfortable. When I took off my hat, Mary's face froze for a moment. Then she became furious. Are you crazy? Shaving your head for no reason, and even putting on scar makeup? My daughter's birthday is in a couple of days, and you look like this. How are you going to attend her birthday party? Or are you trying to gain sympathy with such a despicable trick? It turned out that she was willing to come back, not because she was tired of playing, but because she remembered she had a daughter with an unknown biological father. Mary is truly blind and heartless. Why would she think the scar winding like a centipede on my head was just makeup? Her harsh voice made my eardrums ache as if they were about to burst. Or maybe it was heartache that made every part of my body hurt. Once, she would hold me and cry for a long time out of worry, even if I accidentally burned a small red spot while cooking for her. But in the end, she disappeared. The love she had for me disappeared along with her. I calmly picked up a tissue and gently wiped the water from my head. When it touched the cut, I involuntarily gasped. I don't need anyone's sympathy, especially not yours. My declarative sentence, when it reached Mary's ears, turned into something sarcastic and strange. George, are you trying to make trouble? Then don't even show up at Nancy's birthday party. She's always like this, threatening me with her daughter in just a few words. Nancy and I have a deep bond. It's not something she can easily disrupt with her provocations. The daughter I raised with my own hands. It's not up to you to make decisions for her. It doesn't matter that Mary doesn't love me. Nancy definitely wants me to celebrate her birthday with her. A tender fatherly affection involuntarily spread across my face. Perhaps I was smiling too smugly. Mary poured a bucket of cold water over me. Did you forget that Nancy is my child and has nothing to do with you? Back then, when she was being bullied, I risked my life and was beaten until I had a brain contusion to save her. After I reported it to the police for her, she didn't dare to tell her family. When she found out she was pregnant, the doctor told her that if she had a miscarriage, she would never be able to become a mother in her lifetime. She was about to jump off the hospital rooftop, and I happened to be up there flying a kite. How could I let someone whose life I saved die right in front of me? After saving her, the long-hidden feelings I had for her could no longer be kept inside. I confessed to her and even mustered the courage to hold her hand as we faced the storm at the Mary family. But my love and tolerance for her and Nancy have now become the weapon she uses to hurt me. Is she mocking me for rushing to become a father? I'm not some Ninja Turtle. I don't care if others insult me, but what right does Mary have to make a fuss with me? You're right, since she's not my biological child anyway. Let's get a divorce quickly. You can find Nancy a new dad, or even better, find her real father. Perhaps thinking of that embarrassing memory, my unexpectedly sarcastic behavior left Mary caught off guard. She stabbed my heart, so I would poke at her lungs. What happened back then was her nightmare. Over the years, I have carefully nurtured her, nourishing her with love, fearing she would wake up in the middle of the night drenched in cold sweat from a nightmare. I poked her like that. She would definitely be furious enough to divorce me immediately. I had almost imagined the scene of the storm arriving, but Mary bit her lip tightly and didn't move. It seemed she was holding back a big move, so let the storm come even stronger. I pointed to the divorce agreement on the table and handed her a pen full of anticipation, but she didn't take it. She just walked impatiently toward the kitchen. After turning the fridge upside down and not finding any pre-made meals, Mary's anger could no longer be contained. George, where have you been for the past month? You've emptied the fridge. Are you deliberately trying not to live well anymore? I was stunned. Could it be that she still wanted to live well with me? I've been waiting for you to come back so we can get a divorce. Just now, when I touched her sore spot, she refused to divorce. Now the fridge is empty, but I only withdrew a little bit of love, yet she became angry and disappointed. To ensure that she has something to eat when she's hungry, despite my busy work schedule, I make time every week to prepare some pre-made dishes and store them in the fridge. Of course, most of the time, these pre-made dishes end up in my stomach. And Mary always eats the fresh meals I cook for her. My words echoed in the silent living room. Now, someone as proud as her should finally agree to sign, right? Under my eager gaze, she angrily grabbed the pen but lingered for a long time before signing. I even felt like joking. After the divorce, you just happened to move into Kevin's place. Mary abruptly tore the divorce agreement to shreds. So it turns out, you're just jealous. I've said countless times, Kevin and I are like family without any blood relation. There's no way you're getting a divorce. Just as I was regretting my careless words, Mary's video ringtone sounded. Mom, I want to ask you for a birthday present. Hearing Nancy's soft and sweet voice, my heart instantly melted into a puddle. I eagerly craned my neck to look at Mary's phone screen, but she glared at me fiercely and turned the phone completely away from me. During this month of being sick, I was afraid of scaring Nancy, so I didn't dare to video call her. Now, hearing her voice, I can't help but want to go and bring her home immediately. Sweetie, whatever you want, Mommy will make it happen. Mommy, I want Uncle Kevin to be my dad. He's much more fun than Dad. My soft heart instantly stiffened. I forgot that Kevin is the son of Mary's mother's new husband. Nominally, Kevin and Mary are one family. And my daughter Mary Nancy is currently being raised in Kevin's family compound. Kevin, that bastard, it's one thing to steal my girl, but now he's even trying to take my daughter. This is just too much bullying. Sweetheart, Daddy can't just claim you like that. In a couple of days, Daddy and I will celebrate your birthday together, okay? Hearing Mary mention me as your dad, the pain Nancy caused was revived once again. I was eagerly looking forward to hearing Nancy's cheers. But Nancy said in a mature and stern tone, I don't want to. I don't like Dad anymore. The kid said that Dad doesn't love me. That's why he left me with Grandma. At that time, I was worried that I wouldn't be able to take good care of Nancy because of my hospital surgery, so I found an excuse to let Mary take over caring for Nancy. As a result, in just a short month, she turned against me and refused to acknowledge me. So, I want my uncle to be my dad. A child's innocent words hit me like a plunge into an ice cellar. Sure enough, not being biological, no matter how much you raise them, you can't truly make them yours. What was even more heartbreaking was that Mary smiled and agreed to Nancy's request. Since the baby likes Uncle so much, let's have Uncle be Nancy's godfather. My mood was like riding a roller coaster. At this moment, both I and the car plunged into the valley. I seemed to hear the sound of something shattering into pieces. Mary glanced at me out of the corner of her eye, full of provocation. Did you hear that? The daughter you raised with so much hardship knows that Kevin treats her better. Be honest, where have you been this past month? And why did you make Nancy feel like you abandoned her? Mary hung up the video call, crossed her arms, and began to judge me. I frowned and looked at her, feeling for the first time that the woman I had loved for so many years was suddenly so unfamiliar. Can you really not tell that I had surgery? Well, I guess you must have completely forgotten about what happened back then. I lowered my head so Mary could clearly see the circle of scars. I did this not to make her feel guilty, but just to let her understand that I am not her. I wouldn't abandon Nancy to have fun for no reason. When I looked up, Mary's face was already nestled in the hollow of my neck. George, I was wrong. I thought you were pretending. I actually received the surgery information from the hospital, but I thought you were deliberately jealous and sulking. I coldly pushed her away from my arms. Faced with my indifference, Mary's tears fell silently. George, does it hurt? I nodded and then shook my head. When the doctor asked me to call a family member to sign, I couldn't reach Mary no matter what, but I saw on Kevin's Facebook that they were eating skewers at a street stall. That was the kind of dirty food Mary despised the most, and eating it would definitely cause stomach pain. But she would rather ruin her health than not accompany Kevin in eating meat and drinking heavily. Busy as she was, she couldn't spare the time to sign for me, her husband. She didn't know that the reason I needed surgery was because the blood clot left from saving her years ago was now pressing on my nerves. I have no family. Can I sign for myself? At that time, I had a headache, but my heart hurt even more. To the point where the signature on the surgery form looked like a ghostly scrawl. George, are you hungry? I'll go buy some groceries and cook for you right away. No need, I'm not hungry. Her stomach started to growl like an empty fortress, and Mary wiped away her tears and smiled. But I couldn't smile, because her phone rang. With just one glance, I caught the caller ID showing Kevin. Mary's gaze was focused on me, but her peripheral vision kept drifting toward the phone screen. Answer it, or he'll start to worry. A look of panic flashed across Mary's face. George, I'll take it then. It must be a work issue. She took the call openly in front of me, not giving Kevin a chance to speak. All right. Why are you so worked up? Even if the sky falls, wait until I have time to talk about it. I'm with my husband right now. After saying the last sentence, Mary hung up the phone without caring about what Kevin wanted to say. But Kevin was not discouraged and continued to harass Mary despite being yelled at. George, what do you want to eat? How about making your favorite garlic spare ribs? This is the first time in nearly a year that she has taken the initiative to offer to cook for me. In the past, I would have happily held her in my arms as we messed around together in the kitchen. Now, those beautiful memories have become so distant that I can no longer reach them. Seeing that I was not as close to her as usual, Mary took my hand proactively, looking like she was seriously discussing grocery shopping and cooking with me, just like a dutiful wife. But her eyes were already glued to the constantly vibrating phone. Even her hands unconsciously started to rub together. She was rubbing the back of my hand, causing me pain, yet she didn't notice at all. This was an unconscious gesture she made when feeling anxious and uneasy. She was worried about Kevin. I pulled my hand away, which she had rubbed red, and kindly took the phone for her. Mary, I'm at the hospital. Can you help me? What? Which hospital? I'm coming right now. After hanging up the phone, Mary couldn't hide the worry on her face. She picked up the car keys and hesitantly asked me, George, how about you come with me? When the two of them were having a carefree and happy time, I didn't expect to be invited along. Now there is someone who needs to be taken care of, and she thought about asking me to go together. I vaguely heard the sound of stitching through the phone. And, Mary, she faints at the sight of blood. I'm not going. Just sign the papers before you leave. It will only take you 2 seconds. I'm not cheap enough to go lick my romantic rival. George, can't you be a bit more magnanimous? After all, Kevin is your brother-in-law. Aren't you going to care at all? Who would divorce their wife just because they're jealous of their brother-in-law? Brother-in-law? Does the brother-in-law who suddenly appeared count too? Did she really think I didn't know that for the past month, she and Kevin have been staying in the same suite? When a friend helped me check the hotel records, and there was always only one room, my heart just died. I clearly realized that Mary and I could never go back. Mary slammed the door in disappointment and left. 2 days later, it was Nancy's birthday. No matter how she felt about me as a father, I treated her as my own. Even if it meant divorce, I didn't want to hurt the child. Unexpectedly, when I went to pick up Nancy for her birthday, Kevin's family compound was filled with laughter and joy. Kevin was holding Nancy while playing the game of Eagle Catches the Chicks with Mary. Tired, Mary gently wiped the sweat off Kevin with her soft hand. Nancy hugged Kevin and gave him a kiss on the side of his face. To anyone watching, the three of them looked more like a family. And my mother-in-law, Mary, was lying in the rocking chair, smiling as she watched the scene before her. This was the first time I saw Mary smile so happily. I had seen such a contented smile on my own mother's face before. So, Mary was very pleased with Kevin, whether as a son or a son-in-law. I was like a peeping Tom spying on someone else's happiness, standing under the scorching sun for half an hour. Mary had long noticed I was there, but she pretended not to see me. Looking at the carefully selected gift in my hand, I hesitated before walking into the courtyard. Nancy, look what Dad bought for you. Nancy heard my voice but still nestled in Kevin's arms, showing no intention of running to me. When she saw that I had given her the princess outfit she had been longing for, she curled her lip in disdain. Dad, Kevin has already bought me something better than this. After saying that, she pouted and turned her head away from me. Nancy is angry. No wonder they are mother and daughter. Their attitudes towards me are exactly the same. Raising a dog. Over time, you develop feelings for it. Let alone raising a baby, taking care of every little thing from diapers to feeding. At this moment, Nancy's betrayal hurt me more than Mary not loving me. When Mary's mother agreed to marry the pregnant Mary to me, she made two non-negotiable demands. First, our child would take Mary's family name. Second, Mary would not live with her mother-in-law. This is no different from marrying into the family. But I love Mary so much. I even love the child in her belly who has nothing to do with me. When we truly get married and have children, the grandson my mother has been longing for will end up with Mary's surname. I don't even dare to tell my mother that the child isn't mine to begin with. The title of Soft Rice King has already made my mom unable to hold her head high. If she found out that she was the one wearing the green hat and taking the blame, she might just die on the spot. My mom wanted to help me take care of Nancy, but I declined, saying that young people nowadays prefer to raise their own children. Whenever I think about this, I feel guilty towards her. It seems my mom's wish will be unfulfilled again today. Nancy won't be coming back with me to see Grandma. I put down the gift and tried to make one last plea. Nancy, Grandma misses you. How about Dad takes you home? No. Grandma's house is too run down. I want to be with Dad, Kevin. Hearing this, Mary's embarrassment and anger intertwined and shifted constantly, and finally, she whispered into Kevin's ear before coming over to me. Nancy is just a child. Don't get angry with her. Kevin also prepared an apology gift for you. When you go inside later, don't give him the cold shoulder, or else my mom and I will lose face. I didn't expose it. Nancy stopped recognizing me as her dad in just 1 month because someone was deliberately influencing her. I don't believe Mary can't see through it. She was just pretending to be deaf and mute. This is probably the last birthday I can spend with Nancy. At the dining table, I felt completely like an outsider. Kevin was even holding Nancy, constantly interacting to provoke me. Taking advantage of the trip to the bathroom, I picked up the red hair on the floor. It was Kevin's dyed short hair. I knew my guess was ridiculous, but Kevin was clearly not a proper brother-in-law. There's no such thing as an external grandson-in-law. Nancy, come home with Daddy, okay? Nancy, immersed in playing princess dress-up with Kevin, didn't hear me at all. Bitterness spread across my mouth. Nancy, give Daddy a hug, okay? Kevin lifted his chin, his eyes full of secret pride as he looked at me. Brother George, it seems Nancy doesn't want to go with you. Don't make things difficult for the child. Some people fail enough just by being a dad to this extent. Mom Mary stood by my side at some unknown time, speaking coldly right away. She has always resented me for causing Mary to become an unwed mother, turning her into a disgrace in our circle. At this moment, I didn't want to keep it a secret from Mary. Mom, actually, I'm not Nancy's, George. I'm going home with you. Mary's face was full of panic. Her panicked gaze was not on Mary's mother, but on Kevin. How ridiculous. Was she afraid that Kevin would find out Nancy was a bastard with an unknown father? But has she ever considered other possibilities? Before I left the compound, Mary clung sticky to my arm. Her hand gripped me tightly, afraid I would say one more word about the past. As soon as we got in the car, Mary stopped pretending to be affectionate. George, what were you just about to say to my mom? What do you think? What are you afraid of? My steady gaze made Mary's chin retreat inch by inch. Didn't we agree back then that this matter would be known only to heaven, earth, you, and me? What good does it do you to blurt it out now? If I blurt it out, then I can divorce you. My resolute attitude toward divorce made Mary feel betrayed and heartbroken. Isn't it enough that I admitted I was wrong? I swear Kevin and I are innocent. If you really don't like it, I'll take Nancy back right now. You're her father, and that will never change. Yeah, besides me, no one would be willing to take the blame for this. Except for dear old Dad. You don't have to say it if you don't want to, just sign the divorce papers with me. George, I've already apologized to you. What more do you want? How can such a small matter escalate to divorce? Nancy was never your biological child. I know you'll be upset that she suddenly feels distant from you, but you should also reflect on your own issues, shouldn't you? I pointed to myself in disbelief. I'm a stepfather who has treated her like my own cherished child since she was born. If it weren't for you allowing your mom and Kevin to fill her head with nonsense, would she reject me? I honestly feel no guilt when it comes to her and her mother. On the contrary, Mary has never been close to Nancy because of Nancy's background. The more she refuses to get close to Nancy, the more I pamper Nancy on her behalf. I'm afraid that her daughter, who is 10 months pregnant, will betray her birth mother due to a lack of familial affection. In the end, the one who gets betrayed is me, the fool. Don't falsely accuse good people. A child's heart is like a clear mirror. Does it need our teaching? After saying this, Mary realized she had misspoken and covered her mouth with her hand. George, that's not what I meant. I'm not blaming you. I just don't want to divorce you. Thank you for the reminder. Otherwise, I would have forgotten that there is something called blood kinship. If she's not my daughter, no matter how much I raise her, she won't become truly mine. The cramped space inside the car made it hard for me to breathe. I opened the car door and got out, striding towards a taxi in the distance. Mary jumped out of the car after me, jogging to catch up. Where are you going? Isn't it enough that I admitted I was wrong? I don't know if it was intentional or just hurried, but Mary ran and fell. I didn't even look back. Mary's crying was especially clear in the silent night. Just like that night, her cries were as pitiful as when she was surrounded and bullied in the park. I clenched my fists, and in the end, it was responsibility that made me turn back. But before I could get close, Kevin had already rushed out of Kevin's house. He put Nancy down on the ground and scooped Mary up in his arms, full of boyfriend energy. George, is this how you treat your own wife? You have such a cruel heart. When Nancy saw the blood on Mary's knee, she forcefully smashed the toy doll in her hand at me. You bad person, go away. I won't let you bully Mom. Look, just because I was a step late, I became the one bullying Mary. Even my own daughter, whom I raised for 6 years, is accusing me of being a bad person. So, what exactly have I been striving for these 7 years? If all the hardships and humiliations along the way lead to this outcome, why did I take the blame for those scumbags back then? Why did I raise someone else's child? They say when a person hits rock bottom, they become invincible. So why am I the one who ended up completely broken? Nancy, don't say that about Dad. It was Mom who accidentally fell. Go apologize to Dad. This was the first time Mary spoke sternly to Nancy. Nancy was rubbing Mary's knee and was so frightened by Mary's scolding that she instantly broke down crying. Mom, do you not love me anymore? Mary, why are you still defending him? Today is Nancy's birthday. Kevin's words made Nancy cry even louder. My head was throbbing painfully from the noise. This chaotic scene, I was really afraid that if I looked for one more second, I would faint and never wake up again. Seeing me leave again without a word, Mary broke free from Kevin's embrace and limped as she tried to chase after me. But Kevin suddenly wrapped his arms around her waist from behind. Mary, let him go. He's only acting like this because he knows you love him. My steps faltered. Mary, if you don't have time to sign the divorce papers, then see you in court. George, stop right there. How dare you leave me without my permission? After Mary pried Kevin's fingers apart one by one, she staggered over to me. This time, I let her chase after me behind the car, but I didn't soften even once. In the rearview mirror, I saw her holding Kevin's neck, crying uncontrollably. The hands gripping the steering wheel were clenched so hard they turned white. The car continued to drive steadily, but my heart was desolate. When I lay down to rest, Mary came back with Nancy, who was sound asleep. She settled Nancy and lay down beside me, softly calling me. George, George. I closed my eyes and pretended to be asleep, not wanting to respond to her. She tiptoed to the bathroom, and just as she finished washing up, her phone rang. She immediately picked up the phone in the bedroom. She probably thought I was already asleep, so she lowered her voice and said softly, "We're home now, don't worry." The bedroom was silent. Kevin's voice drowned out the sound of my heartbeat. Mary, at this point, you still refuse to leave him? We are the most soulfully compatible people. I don't ask for fame or status. As long as you're willing to live at Kevin's place, I can forever be your nominal younger brother, or even Nancy's father. Unexpectedly, Kevin could be so humble for Mary. Is his love for Mary the true love I imagined? Love extends even to Nancy? Or is his acting so superb that it surpasses my deep affection for Mary and her daughter? In this marriage, I constantly remind myself to keep my place. I dare not hope for too much. I thought we would always be happy together, And even if men always showed interest in Mary, I wasn't worried about being cut out. Until Kevin appeared. In Mary's words, the two met too late. If they had met Kevin earlier, there wouldn't have been any trouble with me, George, the useless son-in-law. Mary, my feelings for you. If you don't believe me, can't you see it? Please don't let me down, okay? Mary was silent for a long time. So long that I thought she had already hung up Kevin's call. Then, I heard her say, "Got it." Hearing her answer, my dead and silent heart did not stir a single ripple. The other half of the bed collapsed, and after a month, Mary lay beside me. In the past, she clung to me with all limbs like an octopus. Now, back to back, the wide gap between us is wider than the Milky Way. It can never be filled again. The next day when I woke up, Mary had already taken Nancy to school. After sending Mal for a paternity test, I went to the hospital for a follow-up. At the hospital, I happened to run into Kevin, who had just finished treating his wound. "Shall we talk?" His expression was one of determination to win, clearly coming to show off to me. "There's nothing for us to talk about." But Kevin wouldn't let me off. He put his hand on my shoulder and said bluntly, "Brother George, can't you stand losing? I know I appeared late in Mary's world, but that doesn't mean just because you met her first, you're her true love. I suppose you've seen how romantic it was for me to spend a whole month with her day and night, right? If you don't want to humiliate yourself, you'd better let go." Speaking of the phrase, to bring shame upon oneself, it feels like a lifetime ago. Once, I teased Nancy, "Sweetheart, do you love mommy more or daddy more?" Nancy covered her mouth and giggled nonstop. She always answers me that she loves both daddy and mommy the most. But last night, I secretly asked Nancy whether she liked me more or Kevin more. She imitated Mary's tone to mock me. "Daddy, can you stop embarrassing yourself?" "Yeah, as an outsider, what right do I have to ask if the mother and daughter love me?" "Yesterday, Nancy told me about your conversation. Brother George, I really feel sorry for you." I looked at this face so much like Nancy's and smiled. "The three of you should be reunited. I wish you happiness." Kevin, pleased with my tact, lightly patted my shoulder. "Brother George, that's the right attitude. After all, the one who isn't loved is the mistress." Originally not wanting to argue with him, I couldn't help myself and punched Kevin hard on the nose. "Because the expedited paternity test report I requested has come out. Kevin actually is Nancy's biological father." I was filled with rage and didn't know where to vent it, but he insisted on coming over to hit me, so I didn't hold back. Kevin didn't expect the usually nice me to suddenly lash out. He immediately took out his phone. "George, are you sick or what? I'm going to tell Mary right now, just wait and see." "Fine, I'll be right here waiting." But the grip in his hand grew tighter and tighter. Kevin saw I was serious and actually called Mary. Mary's company is close to the hospital, and when she came running to us out of breath, she was holding her high heels in her hand. It seemed she was afraid I would hurt Kevin. Usually so image-conscious, she was surprisingly flustered to this extent. She slammed her high heels hard against my back and grabbed me firmly. "George, you're crazy. Stop it right now. If you keep this up, I'll call the police." With that, Mary really called the police. A sour feeling spread in my heart, and I laughed out loud. Back then, she was too afraid to report the abuse, so I reported it for her and gave a statement at the police station. That shattered Mary is still deeply etched in my mind. When I married her, I vowed to use the love of the rest of my life to heal her wounds. But she went and fell in love with the very person who led the harm against her. Now, especially because I hit Kevin, that rapist, she actually dared to call the police. This is fine too. The unresolved case should now finally come to light. When the police took the three of us away, Mary had already calmed down. "Mary, does he also abuse you like this at home?" At the police station, Kevin still didn't forget to stir the pot. I originally thought Mary would deny it. After all, I loved her so much that I even questioned if losing a strand of hair was my fault. Unfortunately, Mary seemed to accept that I abused her. Strangely, my heart was trampled on again, but I didn't feel anything at all. I watched the two people in front of me with a smile from beginning to end. I was so eager to know what kind of hellish scene it would be when the two who knew the truth met, or if they would just laugh it off and get married on the spot. No matter which scenario it was, I was just a spectator. Kevin was making a fuss about appealing that I had intentionally hurt him, while Mary remained silent. Instead, she was somewhat annoyed at my smile. "George, this time it's really your fault. You attacked Kevin so harshly for no reason. I can't protect you anymore." "I don't need you to protect me. You should think about how to protect him." Hearing my words, Mary was completely baffled. "What do you mean? It's not like Kevin laid a hand on you. If you don't want to go to jail, just apologize to him properly and try to make peace." "What if I say no?" I only hated myself for not punching that rapist a few more times, and she even defended him. "George, is your head really that noble? Isn't it just about bowing to Kevin and apologizing?" Mary's eyes were filled with disappointment in me. Then she was destined to be disappointed to the end. "I told you, I'm not wrong, and I won't apologize to him." "Fine, if you're stubborn, then go to jail and suffer a bit." Mary slammed the table in extreme disappointment. The police were startled by her action. "Ma'am, he is your husband. If you could persuade them to reconcile, wouldn't that be better?" Mary snorted coldly. "Don't mind him. Everyone is equal before the law. Since he dared to hit someone, he must be prepared to face the consequences." As Mary dragged the injured Kevin away in anger, Kevin quietly gave me the middle finger. I responded with an ambiguous smile. I was the one who reported the rape and assault cases back then. Mary, as a victim of rape, has the right to reconcile. That's her business. But I was beaten up by Kevin and others, and there was an injury assessment report at the time. Just the fact that he beat me to the point where I needed brain surgery is enough to hold him accountable. Based on the paternity test I provided, the police conducted various investigations and comparisons and concluded that the person who was untraceable back then was indeed Kevin. Even the police, who are used to all kinds of bizarre cases, were at a loss when faced with such a ridiculous outcome. Kevin was sent abroad to hide for a few years after committing the crime. He only agreed to return to the country on the day his father married Mary. Perhaps because his fate with Mary was not yet over, Kevin, who should have continued to enjoy life overseas, stayed for Mary. Since he stayed, he shouldn't be thinking about leaving. The wife and daughter he could take away, I no longer care about. It's just that thinking about the effort over these 7 years, it hurts a little. Hurting for myself. Kevin was detained at Kevin's house. After Kevin's father and Mary's mother learned the truth, they started yelling at each other on the spot, causing a huge commotion. Nancy was a little scared facing this sudden scene. I was soft-hearted, wanting someone to take her away. The troubles of adults shouldn't be hers to bear. But Nancy was ungrateful and pushed me away. "You bad person, you brought the police to catch Kevin's dad. I hate you." The last trace of softness in my heart was shattered by Nancy's words. Nancy was so scared she wanted Mary to hold her. But Mary, who never really liked this daughter, looked at her with pure disgust. "Get lost." This was the first time Mary scolded Nancy. Nancy finally realized something was wrong. But at this moment, no one cared about her tears and sorrow. I felt nothing but pity for her, no other emotions. If only she had just acknowledged me or called me Dad, I would have softened and taken her away. Unfortunately, Mary Nancy's last name is not George. She should have been a Kevin. Perhaps it was the inferior genes in Kevin's blood that made Nancy see me as an enemy. Kevin, handcuffed, with a pale face, his eyes wandering between Mary and Nancy. How could it be? It can't be you. Nancy, she. How could it be? But it's written in black and white, clear as day. Nancy is Kevin's daughter. Unless Mary personally admits that back then she and Kevin and the others were all willing, otherwise. Mary looked at me as if begging for help, her face pale and shattered. Even worse than when I was humiliated back then. And I, coldly watching Mary, will no longer reach out a helping hand. "George, I didn't know it was him. I didn't know it would turn out like this. Didn't you say it was all over? Where does this leave me now with you acting like this?" At this point, Mary was still trying to blame me. "What? Feeling sorry now? If you had divorced me earlier, it wouldn't have come to this. Are you regretting it?" Mary shook her head violently. "George, we shouldn't be like this. I never thought about divorcing you. It's just that feelings are hard to control. I once told Mary that no matter where in the world, I would never give up helping her find the real culprit from back then." The moment I saw the appraisal results, the first thing I thought of was my promise to Mary. A prophecy fulfilled. I beat Kevin mercilessly without hesitation. This is the scene that has lingered countless times in my mind. Before, I endured the humiliation for the sake of the special relationship between Mary's family and Kevin's family. Now, I don't care about Mary anymore. So why would I care about the face of their families, Mary's and Kevin's? At the gate of the compound, quite a few neighbors had already gathered to watch the commotion. Kevin, whom Mary's mother had praised endlessly, had now become a rapist. Upon learning the truth that Mary had given birth out of wedlock back then, no matter how much Mary's mother liked Kevin and his father, she couldn't reconcile for the sake of face. After Mary's mother had left Kevin's father with a face full of bloodstains, she bowed to me and apologized for the first time. "George, I've wronged you all these years. Mom apologizes to you." I stood there, accepting her bow. "Auntie, there's no need to bring up old matters. From now on, I have nothing to do with your Mary family." I had already made up my mind. Once I leave, I'll find a lawyer to file for divorce. Mary saw through my thoughts at a glance. With red eyes, she threw the matching rings she and Kevin had into the trash can. She rummaged through her bag for a long time again, only to find that she had long lost the engagement ring I gave her. "George, why can't I find my diamond ring?" I still maintained my standard smile, watching her look helpless like a clown, just like how I once tried to hold her back. "This look is really ugly. I never want to live looking this hideous again." Mary, unable to find the diamond ring, was sweating profusely with anxiety. Kevin let out a powerless rage when he saw her throw away the wedding rings. "Mary, don't bother looking for it. I've already thrown that junky diamond ring down the drain for you." Hearing this, Mary went crazy and rushed over to slap Kevin. "Who gave you permission to throw my things away?" Kevin, stunned from the beating, struggled violently, but since his hands were handcuffed, it was all in vain. The police, feeling awkward about lingering, pulled Kevin into the police car. I took one last look at Mary and her daughter, then got into the car as well. Mary clung to the door handle, not letting me leave. "George, I was confused. I'm sorry. But Kevin, she wants me to let Kevin off? Then she is really overthinking it. The net of heaven is vast and wide, yet misses nothing. Since he dares to bring people to bully you, he must be prepared to pay the price. Of course, you were the victim back then. If you dropped the lawsuit, it would still be a good story." After returning the exact words, Mary's lips trembled and turned pale, her eyes red as blood. "George, do you really not want me and Nancy anymore? Why didn't you tell me earlier?" She habitually wanted me to take the blame for everything, but unfortunately, I am no longer the George who loved Mary deeply 7 years ago. If I had told you earlier, would you not have fallen in love with him? Love and indifference have always had clear boundaries. I've seen how much she loved me. Now that she doesn't, I can tell at a glance. Just like how I can easily tell at a glance that the handmade gift she gave me is defective. If I had known from the very beginning that Kevin was the one who bullied Mary back then and caused me to have a brain hemorrhage, I wouldn't have let them mess around together. And Kevin would have long been thrown in jail by me. I wouldn't let such a scumbag hurt Mary and her daughter. But once the wheels of fate start turning, there's no stopping them. Their ill-fated bond was destined long ago, just like my tragedy. No matter how much you try to escape, you can't get away. The fate granted by heaven is truly wonderful. After all the twists and turns, you three are the real family. I am just a passerby. Now, everything is simply returning to its normal course. Back then, I fulfilled all the promises I made to you. If you really feel guilty, you can go get a divorce with me right now." Mary closed her eyes tightly and tilted her head back, but tears still uncontrollably slid down from the corners of her eyes. "Okay." Mary signed the divorce agreement with trembling hands. The property was split evenly, and Nancy was granted custody. Perhaps feeling that she owed me, Mary gave me 30% of the property that belonged to her. I didn't refuse, considering it as compensation for the hard work of raising Kevin's child. On the day I received the divorce certificate, Mary held Nancy's hand and pleaded with me. "Can we have a meal together one more time?" Nancy was extremely resistant. "Mom, I don't want to. I want Daddy Kevin to eat with me." I tugged the corner of my mouth into a faint smile, not responding to Mary's plea. "Nancy, he's not your Daddy Kevin. He is your biological father. Blood relatives cannot be confused. As for me, your adoptive father, from now on I am a stranger. George, my mom is already divorced. and I have appealed Kevin's crime from back then. Can you please not leave? I still love you. Without you, I don't know how I'll face the days ahead. I dragged my suitcase and looked around the once warm home, my eyes a little stinging. What you all do no longer concerns me. Take care. As I gently closed the door, Mary's sobbing suddenly came through. Mom, don't cry. If you cry, Uncle Kevin will feel heartbroken. My footsteps did not stop, and the cries grew farther and farther away from me. I do not regret saving Mary 7 years ago. Now, I also do not regret leaving her. These 7 years, let them be like a dream. When the dream ends, I should embark on the journey that rightfully belongs to me.